Hey superhumans, how are we? So, now that we're home, we actually have a decent setup so we can sit here and do this. And before we get started, you'll see that I actually noted that this is 3 days worth. And there's this internal rebel in me, and this internal rebel in me that wishes to inspire the internal rebel in all of you of always do everything when it feels good. Always do everything that works for you. And if you're not feeling it, despite what social media says, just do it your way. So I didn't do it over the weekend because we were quite preoccupied and we had a lot of fun, and we had a housewarming, we did a pub crawl on push bikes, we had lots of friends over, and we had a really neat, after a week away of travelling down to Newcastle and purchasing a car and spending time in Byron Bay at the Quantum Uplift Centre. If you're in Byron Bay, please get to the Quantum Uplift Centre. Treat yourself.
Amazing.
It is, the therapies there that they have are next level, so I can't recommend it highly enough. But we definitely were very preoccupied. So I chose over the weekend not to do it. And I know the rules of the engagement for the 30-day challenge was that we're meant to do it consecutive for 30 days, but I do what I want. And so we did. And so we thought we'd combine them all tonight and have a really cool conversation. And thank you everyone who's been watching the replays of these and commenting and sending us love. We were like, this feels really good. So you are getting this content from us because this does feel good for us. And we freaking love having these conversations. And I did have every intention on Friday of us doing a live, but we had the most mindgasmic conversation in the car before we left about these topics. And so the both of us love these conversations.
The excitement for us is this is really just us talking and having a conversation about stuff we would normally talk about anyway. So it sort of seems to be easy to flow about it. We literally said, should we take notes before we started? We went, no, let's just wing it because that's what we're best at doing.
Which is part of the night's conversation. So the first point of conversation, the first point that they had, was that it's about why it's important to have fun. And that perfectly is to what this whole weekend was about, was having fun. As adults, everyone gets stuck into this whole like grind and work facade. And the truth of it is if you're not having fun, and this is why I've stopped and I've broken down so much of what I used to do, past tense, because I realized that I was lacking the fun. I thought I was having fun, but then I had all these beliefs and expectations about what I should be doing and should be showing up as. And I lost the fun and the magic of it. And ultimately, all us adults have an internal 2-year-old who is dying for some attention and some balance.
The importance, not just of fun, I think, but as play as an adult can help bring that sort of a balance. And I feel like for me, and maybe this is different for everyone else, we are on this planet to do nothing but live. We're here to live and enjoy every single moment with it. So finding the balance in there, yes, we should be living for today, but you should pay your bills just in case you survive till tomorrow anyway.
Yes.
But there's that whole point. And I feel like this is what should have been learned, particularly last year. Everyone was panicking so much about this stupid virus, and what they were doing is putting off their life. They stopped having fun, they stopped going out, and they stopped doing that. I didn't, by the way, I just did my life. But the whole point with this is you're all going to die, all of us, guaranteed, and you don't know when it could be. It could be right now, could be tomorrow. And you know what? Get comfortable with it. Get so damn comfortable with death that you don't ever miss an opportunity to enjoy yourself. Take the risk, buy the cars, waste the money, do whatever you need to do to enjoy this life, because it's not guaranteed outside this second, or this second, or this second.
And we always want to obviously say about responsible living and responsible everything.
Yes.
But at the same time, I love the way you said that, because the one thing, when you start spending your money and using it and loving it and playing with it and having more fun with it, it's really funny because you learn how to make more of it. Because you have this respectable, loving relationship with the money you earn and play and use. So I'm pretty sure the reason why we get money is to use it and facilitate the life 100%. We're living.
And the value exchange, the true exchange you're going to do for anything is your time. So for me, I look at it and I go, doesn't matter what it is. There's so much stuff and things that we don't have. I mean, we actually have a TV. We don't watch it, but we don't have
Can I show them our TV?
Yeah,
do you guys want to see our TV? This is how our TVs live most of the time. Ready? with a little banner or something on top of it because we just don't use it, right? That's how much our life is pretty fun, and we choose. The only time we watch movies is if we're hungover and we are trying to recover.
In balance, all in balance.
We are health practitioners after all, but it's all about balance and having fun, and also knowing the shortcuts, which is why it's great that I'm a genetic profiler, because I'm like, I know all the shortcuts to bring the body back to life when we need to.
Absolutely. And again, so yes, there's that responsible living and finding the value on your own time. And I feel like this doesn't matter what it is. This is a mistake people make. They don't have the balance, first of all, and we've all gone through this. We'll need to grow with this. But the balance of your own time, then also the balance on your time value. If you're driving to a job to make however much it is, but you spend an hour driving there each way and back, get a job closer to home that's paying you $5 an hour less, so that you're not wasting so much time. You're still wasting it. You're getting paid if you allow that time value that you're driving or the time value that you're not. Buy some of your life back. It's cheap. That's the cheapest value of buying some of your time back, taking a pay cut. You got to look at these things throughout your life. And even what I say about buying things is I look at it and go, how long would it take me to save whatever it is? If you're saving $200 a week, if that's your savings and you're looking at a TV that's worth $1,000, you literally worked 5 weeks to buy that TV. That's because that's what it actually happened. 5 weeks to have a TV? No, it's not going to give me that much joy ever. Never, ever. But there's a lot of other things we can do.
Mind that motorbike you bought the other day is going to bring a lot of joy.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of joy. Values on different things. So yeah, the whole idea coming back to play as an adult is very, very important. I think it's more important than play as a child, to try and find that space and stop taking everything so seriously. We're not getting out here alive.
No, we're not. And the other thing is that I find that's so important about why fun is so important. Do you realize that when you drop the facade and drop the bullshit, you actually drop into this truly inspirational, creative, carefree space where you actually get to play more with your true soul's energy, your true soul source, and create magic from that space. And you get inspired to do the thing, or you get inspired to talk to a certain person, or whatever it might be. The more play you do, the more abundance, creativity, happiness, fuck, my words are flying, the more you'll have, because the play that you have creates that inspiration. But also, it creates this magnetic energy in and around you that the things, the people, the places, everything is then attracted to you because you're coming from a more abundant, happy, wholesome, positive space. So 100%. Fun is 100% the most important thing you should be doing. It shouldn't be scheduling, how can I get my jobs done and check my list off. Dudes, fitness, good food, good connection, fun and play need to be the top priority. We have it wrong.
It's all that position of balance. And I feel like we've been talking about balance a lot, and it keeps coming up in my life. The hard thing we do with balance is don't realise that balance isn't 50-50. There's this point there where quite often it's having a little bit of this over here, which we like to think is work over here, just a little bit, and then the play, then the fun, then all of those things. That find your priorities and do more of what sets your soul on fire, because again, we're here to live. No guarantees you're making it till tomorrow morning. There is no guarantee.
No guarantees you're getting your super.
There's no guarantee. The death and taxes are going to get all of us. So take the time and bloody well live. Find that balance, find the play, find what works for you. And it doesn't have to be the same for you as it is for anyone else. If there's that point in your life that you absolutely love, and if you love going to the beach, do that. And that's what we're finding. But it doesn't have to be the same for everyone else. You might just like to sit and read books, and that's fine. Do more of whatever it is.
The one thing actually, and this is going to be cute, I didn't hashtag it. I will hashtag it after this. Sorry, guys. Was when we did the NLP course. Amazing. The best thing I've done in a long time was go and do my NLP prac course and hypnosis course. But everyone in the room was driven to find a financial goal. And I totally understand it. Like, I really do. But I found it so difficult. And I hope this resonates with some of you. What I've come to realize over the since COVID, like, thank you, global COVID situation, because you created time and space for many of us. Do you guys know how, I'm going to go off on another tangent, hold me on that space. How many people lost their identity because they couldn't go and work and do their normal day bullshit rigmarole? Did you notice how many people lost themselves because they didn't know who they were outside of the confinements of normal dictated society? Like, they were like, I don't know who I am. It's the same as like empty nest syndrome, right? Your children, you live for your children leave, and then these adults, these parents are dumbfounded and lost because they don't know who they are, they don't know what makes them happy because they're used to living for something outside of themselves.
This is a really interesting point because I feel like most people have no clue who they are.
No.
And quite often we've heard this before, find yourself and be that. Check your pockets, of course, that's always a good spot. But the hard thing about this is the amount of people that I love to ask people this question, who are you? Tell me deep intrinsically who you are. And the answers that I get are content. People will tell you, oh yeah, I'm a builder. I'm a mother, and you know what, they start telling you who they are, and that isn't who they are at all. That's just shit that fills their life. It's part of the content and what they actually do and the things, but that deep down is not who they are. If you can find actually who you are, that intrinsic at the base of, before your body, before any of that, you're going to be able to find joy in the small things. You're going to be able to enjoy just sitting in the park. So when it comes back to those values and the joy and the play, you don't need money to play. You don't need money to enjoy the small things. So then when you start to realize this, you need less. So you don't have to sacrifice as much of your time for money.
And that was basically the point I first had. Was that for the first time in my life, I've actually gotten to a point, and you've been a massive part of that, is that realizing that if I lost everything and all I could do was walk on the beach every day, was to have some good food and just be with good humans, that's enough. For the first time in my life, I've been able to drop this people pleaser role, this desire to be enough. I've finally been able to look in the mirror and realize those beliefs and trauma patterns I've lived with for so long, the conditioning that I have to prove who I am and what I'm worth. Finally, it actually no longer matters. And releasing that shackle has been earth-shatteringly amazing, because now I no longer actually need that space. Like, now I can actually just be truly happy. I can wake up every day and actually be grateful for what I have, because I no longer feel like I have to. I now actually sit in the space of loving what is. And the funny thing about that, like we spoke about magnetism before, now things are magnetized to me because I'm truly, I'm not bullshitting myself anymore. I now truly feel and believe to my roots core that I am enough, I have enough. And if I lost everything tomorrow, that would create time and space for me to be even more grateful for what I have right in that moment, of my breath, of the sand between my toes, of the smallest things in the world that actually matter, rather than all of this drama and catastrophe and bullshit and this expectations and hierarchy of command in society. It no longer matters.
There's a few really interesting points, I think, with that is, first of all, everyone defines success in a different way. And we talked about this a little bit. I feel like we're brought up and we take on a societal dream of have the house, have the car, have the kids, have the marriage, have all of this content and bullshit, and then you're successful. Well, the thing is, most of us probably won't make it to all of that. So it's an unrealistic expectation. The thing is, and if you do, you know what you're going to find? You're not happy anyway. In a lot of these cases. So you need to dull it down, work out at the basis what's really important, do that, find those things and define what success is to you. Eckhart Tolle put it in his book, and I cannot resonate with something any more strongly than this. Don't let a mad world tell you that success is anything other than a successful present moment, which is life. Live, do that thing, be present, be happy. You're already there. If you can live your life in peace and happiness, you're already there. And I'll come back to what you just said about being on the beach or doing this. You don't actually need that much money to survive. Surviving is actually freaking easy. People quite often that talk about, oh yeah, I'm just getting by. Well, cut the shit that you don't need, and you're actually surviving quite easily. Enjoy the things that are free. You can walk down the beach. If you're not living by the beach, you can walk to the park. You can take your kids out and just sit there and watch them. Put your phone down, leave it at bloody home, so that you can enjoy the finer things in life, the play, all of that, and that you'll find your life improve by far, rather than sacrificing your life to make money and spending your money to try and buy a small percentage of your life back, because you just don't get it. I've found that so much throughout my life in particular, I've spent so much of my money on temporary happiness. And at the basis of anything that most people do to make themselves happy or they enjoy, it doesn't matter what it is, it's so that you feel present. Everybody does the same things for the same reason, whether you go to the gym, whether you race cars, whether you skydive, whether you
ride a push bike, have good sex.
At the basis of those, when you are doing the things you love the most, you're not thinking about your taxes, you're not thinking about your court order, and if you are, you're not enjoying your sex if you're thinking about the court order pending. So at any of those times, at the basis of it, you are clearly present. You don't have to have money to be present. You don't have to waste your time. So we've gone off on that tangent, but the point is live.
Live.
And living is actually free, and enjoy the play. Go out and have fun.
Fun and play.
Some of the best fun we've had is just being out at places and throwing ice and tipping buckets of water over each other and just
acting like children.
Like children.
You know what? Probably the most fun we've had lately is our staircase. I'm going to be so honest with you guys. That staircase has provided so much entertainment. It's like coming back to that moment. I think we are going to go on a tangent, but we will come back to the other points, I promise you. But really delight in the tangents here because they're wonderful. Is the thing that you and I have mentioned so many times that we thoroughly appreciate about each other is that enabling each other to act like our inner child without any judgment. We can both behave, and I think it's like both of our eyes light up when we see each other embracing and embodying our inner child and being purely presently innocent in expressing our childlike desires or mannerisms in that moment, rather than and society does it. They go, no, you need to be a man all of the time, you need to be gruff and strong. I want to see his inner child when it wants to come out and play, and I want to be there in my inner child and play with him. That's true unionship, that's true connection and love and unconditional love. That's the one thing I've never had until now, is that unconditional love and allowing that person as they are to be who they are, fully and wholly. Because if you're judging or conditioning your partner, that's coming from your internal dialogue. If you're dictating, judging, we're going to come back to the other tangent in a minute, but if you're in that space, you're really not actually loving and wholesome in you, then how can you expect to love and be wholesome for and with them? That's a big... I know so many people right now need to sit with that.
We talked about this a bit when we first started dating. Something I said to Shana, I have really big expectation. I have some big expectations for dating, and the biggest one and the only one is I want you to be unapologetically you, and not just don't just be yourself. I want you to be unapologetically you, completely be an idiot, do all the things that you enjoy doing that other people have judged you for and have said things, or make stupid noises and bloody whatever it happens to be, as she does, do the panda noise. So, anyway. Whatever you've got to do, if you can be unapologetically yourself, think about how you were as a kid when you had the best fun. You were running around screaming, tackling people, playing, because you weren't apologising. You had no expectation on how to behave, and it was fun. You didn't give a shit who was watching. The government was, no one cared who was doing or watching when you're having the most fun. Or half the time, the most fun was when you knew you were doing something you probably shouldn't have been doing, but you were doing it anyway.
Yes, that's the best fun.
So with the play, with that whole bit of play involved, did you break it?
No, I didn't.
No.
There we go.
With the whole bit of fun, and the idea of play is to find that absolute unadulterated
bliss.
Fun. Just enjoy it. And I've constantly said that. I want you to be unapologetically you, because I want to be unapologetically me. I don't want to beat around the bush. We've got too old. We've got to a place where I don't want to pretend to be something.
Consciously saying that we're too old.
Well, that's good. I've got past that point.
We're an old 33.
I'm a bit older than you too. But I feel like I've got to that point in my life where I don't care if I don't impress people. I remember I've said this for a long time. If you like me, that's good. If you don't, great. That's even better. Get the fuck out of my life, because I don't want to waste my time on half-hearted people. I want good people in my life, and I want to help, and I want to have fun and play and be me. And yeah, I am extra. I've always known that I am a bit extra. But that's me. And I like that. I love me. I think I'm pretty cool.
You're freaking amazing.
For me.
So are we. So are you. That's the main thing we really want to point out here is our ramblings is really just giving you guys food for thought and love and nourishment, because at the end of all of this, you do you. That's it.
So you sound like a CrossFit coach. You do you.
You do you. There's a point number 3.
Yes.
Number two.
Number 2.
Was
remember.
planning versus, do you think you're more productive when you plan? And guys, the topics that we're using is from this 30-day challenge that came off the back end of the NLP course I've just finished. Then obviously NLP has been taken a long way into sales, and as I'm rolling with it because it's interesting. I've been off social media for quite some time, so I thought this is a really cute way to jump back on. So topic number 2 was, do you think you're more productive when you plan versus winging it?
Where's the picture? There you go, to the numbers. There we go. Yes.
Versus winging it. And I think obviously you are going to be more productive if you know what has to be done. I would argue with what I do that depending on your biology, it will depend whether you're more productive if you plan at a certain time of the day and you take action at a certain time of the day. Because guess what? No one is the same. So therefore, everyone is actually far more productive at certain times of the day. That's where I will challenge you guys on that statement, because not everybody should get up really early and do all of the things. No, some of us actually need to sleep in and do it a little bit slower, build our momentum, and groove on into the night while others shut down and start to be calm and quiet.
There's an interesting point there, I think, with planning. There's a lot of interesting points with planning. Most of us aren't good at planning. Most of us aren't good at it, and you set unrealistic expectations for your time. When I was mining, or when I was doing different things to do with mining in particular, so I was doing mechanical work and all those, I'd go and get this and this done throughout the day. And I'd get in and I'd go, and by about halfway through the day, when I was running out of time and I wasn't getting anything done in the time that I thought I would, I'd start throwing shit and yelling and losing my shit. I would absolutely be a stress case. So I'd get through this stuff and I'd be, throwing stuff across and telling people that I wasn't impressed with their behaviour. All of those things.
Only because you're unimpressed with your own behaviour.
And essentially what I found, and I learned a lot of this through yoga, is to attempt things from a place of ease. So what I found, and we've all done this 10,000 times, is if you attempt a job or life in particular, from a place of ease, from no stress, no anxiety, and you just go, you know what, I'm going to do the job, you'll find it actually happens easy. We've all had those moments, so many moments where you go, oh fuck it, if it doesn't happen today, that's okay. And you go and attempt it, and it just goes click, 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 and it all goes together. So what I found, and a little tool I used to do this, because I used to find when I was especially mechanicking stuff, I'd throw stuff and I'd lose it. Because of what I did is I gave my time poor time and space. So time and space have a really good relevance there, and we can touch back on that in a minute if we need to. But the point is that when you look at time and space, if I was going to have a look at, say, rebuilding truck engine or whatever, or even fixing brakes on a truck, that's a good example. If I looked and went, I reckon I could do that in 3 hours. 3 hours? Yeah, sounds very achievable. But what I would do if it was 3 hours, I'd allow 7. And I'd go in there, get the tools, I'd stuff around, and I'd have it going, or yep, because you've got heaps of time. You've literally given yourself far more time than you need. So you go in, and everything goes, you undo the whole lot, you give yourself a chance to look at it and go, that's how that works properly, rather than rip, tear, and bust and lose your shit. And what I found was, if I gave myself 3 hours to do it, at 2 hours 55, I would be absolutely losing my shit, because I know at 5 minutes to finish this job, I'd be going nuts. What I found is giving myself 7 hours to do a 3 hour job. At about 2.5 hours, I'm mostly done, because I've looked at it and done the job properly. And then I'd be, all right, no, but I'd have a list of things, or whatever else in the back of your head to go, if I get, and I wouldn't say when I get this done, say, if I get this done, I will go and do this, this, and this. And my days become more productive, but also I did it with less stress. So the whole time, attempting from this place of ease and balance again of being able to be realistic with what you're going to achieve. If you put in 10,000 things into your day, again, that time space stuff's up. And I think the best way to explain time and space, most people don't get this. If I got you to ride around a motorbike in your house at 5 kilometers an hour, it would be impractical, it would be difficult, and it would feel extremely fast. It would be nearly impossible. But if you ride around a football oval on a motorbike at 5 kilometers an hour, you'd be bored shitless, it'd be slow, it'd be boring, and it'd be too easy. Because the space is opened up, you've given yourself the space, you've given yourself the time, and it becomes so simple and easy. So that's the analogy that I think of planning. Think about the motorbike in a small room compared to a bigger room. Give yourself the more space, plan it perfectly. Planning, if you've planned it and you give yourself the time, you're going to be far more productive. But not only productive, you're going to be better on your health, because the biggest killer is consistently stress. It's the biggest. It's so well proven scientifically, not just something that I would say. It's scientifically proven that stress is the biggest killer on the face of the earth. And that's going to lead on to your next subject.
It will indeed. For you, with the writing lists and whatnot, I love writing lists. I love post-it notes. I have this infatuation with
because you are a post-it note.
You're a post-it note. with post-it notes. I did write out a list the other night, or last night, gathering my thoughts. Too many things on the one thing. You know what I don't like about this? There's only 2 post-it notes. Had I written each one of these things on a post-it note, I would have had the delightful satisfaction of scrunching each one of these mofos up and throwing in the bin. I find that that's more productive for me and more enjoyable and streamlined, is creating a mud map of what I need, what's in my head, brain dump that out so that you feel better. You've got time and space for clarity. Again, time and space for clarity. So then I can create little post-it notes, and then every time one's finished, I can scrunch it up and throw it away and celebrate those small wins.
You still need them?
I still need them. Sorry.
If you plan a little bit better.
So making sure, I think it's finding the enjoyable ways of getting things done, writing the lists, ensuring that you're not overachieving here, or attempting to overachieve, and also then being okay. What are the most important things for me to get done today? How can I use my time more effective and create small wins, and let the small wins compound?
Give yourself a pat on the back for the small wins. This is what no one ever does. You only ever see the big victories. Most people only ever see the big victories. Your family, your friends, your workmates. Who gives a shit what they see? Think about what you see, and every time you go, you know what? If you're trying to lose weight, don't celebrate when you've lost 10 kilos. Celebrate. Give yourself a pat on the back when you didn't drink a chocolate milk. When every small choice, and we talk about this a lot. We had this. A friend of mine said the other night. He says, "Do you sometimes feel really lucky for the life you've got?" I said, "No, I don't, because I choose this every day, and every choice I make is what brings us to where we are in this moment. Every single one of us is responsible for exactly where we are in life. We've made the choices to put us there consistently. So if you want to have a better life, it's not just going, oh, you know what, I'm going to buy a lotto ticket and hope I bloody well win. It's making better choices consistently. Every day, consistently. You want to have a better relationship with your family and your kids, make better choices. Put them first. Say, you know what, I'm going to make that time to make that phone call. I'm going to send that text message to the kids, whatever it happens to be. To your partner, put them first. Buy them flowers from time to time, even if they're from Coles. They weren't from Coles, they were from Servo.
Hey, every flower needs to be loved. Every flower deserves love.
So whatever it happens to be, and look, I hope this doesn't sound like we're getting it all right, because gee whiz, I've made more mistakes than anyone I know. I've been the shittest person, but I've realised over time that making better choices consistently is going to create the life that you want. Not fucking up and putting things on the back burner and
blaming others.
Blame yourself. Definitely blame yourself, or take responsibility for yourself. This is a big thing. If you're in a shit financial position, if you're not being playful, if you're not planning properly, it's not your fault. This is my fault for the choices that I've made. In this world that we live in, if you don't have the information when it's readily available, your arrogance and ignorance is a choice. You're consistently choosing.
Delicious.
I hope that really triggered people, because it should. The point is that every single thing that you do, there is information out there. Educate yourselves. I have no education formally in school. It's really, really awful. But there's a lot of stuff.
Smartest dumbass we know.
Yes, I am known as this. But the point is there's so much stuff. If you want to know, learn it. And you don't have to learn the same bloody way they taught you in school. It's not about
Everyone learns differently.
Surround yourself with people that you want to learn from. Learn these things, change it, but don't just go, no, my life's shit, this isn't working out for me, and
be active.
this and that's happening and that's happening. change it. Make the damn well adult decisions. It's not fun adult decisions.
We either choose to be the victim or we choose to be actively involved in our life.
Yeah.
We can go on another tangent about this another time because there's so much we could go into about this. But ultimately, you are the creator of your reality. And everything that you have right now is your choice.
And that's literally what you're tying into. How your thoughts create your reality.
Oh yeah, that is so. There you go. That is exactly it. And ultimately, it's been coming up with a lot of my clients and friends of late is this whole, I'm in this situation, everyone around me is doing this and this keeps happening and that keeps happening, or I'm feeling pissed off about this, or I'm not liking this situation, or not liking this situation. It's always a divine mirror. Every aspect of your life is a divine mirror. And if someone or something around you does not feel good, look good in any way, it's only because you're reflecting upon something within you that you see within them that you don't feel okay with. I know that's really hard to feel, and I know that's really hard when you're in that triggered state to actually sit with that. But the truth is, your greatest gift is to look at all the pain and all the shit that's reflected around you and ask yourself, where in my life am I doing, being, saying, or having that? Because that is what you need to fix. If you're uncomfortable with something you're reflected upon in the world, that is your journey and your choice and your space to create, learn, and love that aspect of you. And you will find that you are no longer triggered or judgmental or in effect of those things.
The interesting concept, I think, with all of that is feeling is what you get for thinking the way you do. So your thoughts create your feelings and your emotions. There's a really, really cool thing, and it's a little tip to kill them, not kill the emotions, but if you're feeling sad, sadness is absolutely okay. Anger is absolutely okay. We talked about this the other day when Michelle and I were talking about what's things you could drop. And she said, "What could you drop anger?" I said, "No, I don't want to drop the anger. I actually want to be able to feel angry because that's part of being human. There's times for everything. There's time to be angry because sometimes you need that as fire to use it. Sometimes you need that when there's some things, and sometimes there's just jobs that need to be done. Sometimes it's good to have that." My point with any of these things is you are not your emotions. You're not. But it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to be these things. But what's not okay is to add an emotion on top of that. So if you're angry, be angry. Feel it. Really embrace it and feel it. But don't get pissed off that you're angry. Don't get pissed off that you're sad. If you're sad, be sad. Feel sad and embrace it. If you're going through a shit time, divorces aren't a lot of fun. But when you're going through something like that, sit on your damn couch and cry for 2 hours, turn your phone off and deal with it. Really embrace it and own the part of it that's a mistake on your behalf. And so many times you hear people that are like, oh, what happened in your divorce? Oh, they did this, they did that, they did this. Own the part of it that is your fault and sit with it and feel it so that you can grow past it. My point with all of this is feelings what you get for thinking the way you do. Now, if that's at the forefront of your mind, doesn't matter what it is. You meet someone and they're like, oh, I got a Valiant Pacer, it's the most amazing car, I got this wheels, and all they do is damn well talk about this thing. That is at the forefront of their mind. So it's just going to be projected in every way. That's at the forefront of their mind consistently. And it doesn't matter what it is. You meet people that all they want to do is talk about sex or drugs or
how
candy
good they are,
or
or
yoga.
what they've achieved, or how much money they're worth. And
a lot of that's from ego. A lot of that's all of those things.
There's so many people out there that need to really check themselves before they wreck themselves on that. Like,
did you just say check before?
I so did. It's more about and these are the people that will commonly, and this really ties into that last subject, these are the people that will commonly bitch and moan that people only ever use, abuse them, and see them as a dollar value, or think that they're full of ego and whatnot, because that's what you're pulling out there. That's what you're projecting into the world. If you want to have people see you as a wholesome person, change the dialect, change the way that you try and push yourself out there in the world, because people will see you for what you present.
Make better thoughts, make better choices. Yeah, you want to change your life, change your thoughts and make better thoughts. I say this in yoga a lot, because the idea when we're teaching yoga or when I'm in a class or any of that is to quieten the mind. That being said, it's bloody hard. So if you're going to be thinking, make better thoughts. Start asking yourself who you are. Start asking yourself, what can I do to make my life better? What can I do that makes things, what lights up my soul? Ask the questions, particularly while you have the time, and start changing your thoughts. If you're sitting there going, oh, geez, after I finish this class, I'm going to have to I've got to go home, I've got to cook for the kids, I've got to make the sandwiches, I've got to do this, I've got to iron my clothes. You're going to have a shit time in there. But not only that, all you're doing is living in the future. You're creating that anxiety. All you're doing, that's all anxiety is living in the future. Depression is living in the past in your head.
They're just labels, by the way. They're just labels for a state.
Or find better thoughts to create a better reality.
And stop robbing yourself of the magic of the moment, right? Just that yoga is the perfect thing. Going into somewhere like yoga, and I'm going to use this as a metaphor, a perfect example for this, is that you could go in there and think about everything you're going to do afterwards and blah, blah, blah. All you're doing is robbing yourself of being present in that moment and releasing. You may not ever get rid of all the thoughts, but if you can actually allow yourself to be fully in that moment, fully feel it, fully be present, you will find more space and less thought than you ever have before, because you're not allowing your expectations and that normal day-to-day rigmarole to roll you over. It's more about just going, this too shall pass. It can wait an hour, and I'm allowed to have this, right? Yeah. You're allowed to have moments where you don't think so much. You're allowed to actually sit there and look at your phone and go, I'm not going to respond to everyone for an hour.
And the interesting thing, I really like that one, this too shall pass, that's a big one. And something I learned a long time ago, and it consistently comes back to remind me or resonate with me. Everything matters, but just not much. It really, everything matters, but it's not much. I mean, if you miss a phone call, it might have been important, but it's not that important. You're still here, you still have your breath, you still have everything, you're still surviving. Everything else is details. And the other thing, and I stopped myself from saying some of these things, and it's just a tip that I had for myself. When you change the way you think, and there's a couple of things that I want to touch on here. Stop saying things like, I don't care. Don't say, I don't care about this or I don't care about that. Because the truth is you do, and you should care about everything, but you can always say, don't mind. I don't mind having the TV in the house. I don't mind if you come over later. You do care. You do care. I do care if you come home late, but I don't mind. I would, if you're busy, oh, you don't have time for me this week? Of course I care. Of course I give a shit. But I don't mind. You need to do your things, and I understand. So if you come back to that I don't mind rather than I don't care, it's going to change that whole concept and thought pattern.
Oh, and I do love Ellie for catching me on that one. Speaking about hating things. One that I definitely want to start working on more with myself is watching what you say, because saying you hate things is really, really full on. And I love Ellie for pulling me up on that quite frequently, is that using the word hate. We use so many words. There's some words that are quite vulgar that I'm totally okay with, but it also is what you put meaning to. And we all know the word hate has a lot of energy in it. So watching the words and the things that you put out there.
And creating that differently. Anthony Robbins wrote about this, and he talks about this a lot as well, is the English language has a shit ton of describing words, like a lot. How many do you use? I think there's something like 800,000, 1.2 million words in the English language. On average, the average person in their vocabulary use 2,000 of those words. So they use things for describing the way they feel, like good, happy, okay, fine, not absolutely amazingly, not excited, on top of the world. They're not
using... make up our own words as well.
So if you change the quality of the words and the way you feel, that is going to resonate completely with that. So changing the quality of the words, the quality of your thought pattern is going to resonate with that. Also, when the rest of the world judges you, fuck them. So,
that's the perfect way to finish it. Yeah. We've worked on for ages here, guys, and we love so many of you for staying tuning in. And I love how friends and family are like, oh yeah, I actually watched all your videos. So thank you. I actually just realised just before, I was like, I need to download these and put them on YouTube. I know. So thank you. There will be more. Potentially over the weekend. I may not do videos again, and we may lump them all together again, but keep giving us your thoughts. Rahaya, we do yoga. Rahaya just said about yoga. We do yoga here at the house, at the apartment, on Tuesday nights. It's $15. Yeah. $15. We do it here, or we
pay it in crypto if you want.
Yeah, you can all pay in coin or BCR or cash. What else? I think that was it. I think we've covered everything.
We really enjoy this kind of conversation. That's what Shannon and I started before we started. We were like, I'm not a real great Facebook person. I don't do this. But the point is this is easy because it's actually a conversation that we enjoy having. So
All the time.
anytime anyone wants to have these conversations, we'll make
Give
it
us more subjects. This is cool. The 30-day challenge has been cool because it's giving us like little subjects that we start just digesting and giving you guys food for thought. But that's really all we do. We like being agitators in the factor of your thought process and the way you live your life. Like, challenge the status quo.
Yeah, I
different.
personally like to challenge people on the way that they think in so many different ways because I'm not the rest of the world. I'm just not. I'm not like anyone.
You're traditional.
But my point with that is, I think totally different. I think in a lot of ways very, very different. So I like to challenge it because it's hard sometimes without getting slapped in the face to change the way, this is the way you've been brought up. This is the way society goes. Growth is like this, but it's not like that. Growth is not linear. It does not go like this. You grow like this and you change like this. And when somebody challenges you or they hurt you or make something hard, that's where growth comes from. There's very little growth in privilege. Most growth comes from adversity or challenge or hardship. But not only that, there's this point of being aware of it, because it's easy to be aware of, oh yeah, I'm aware I'm in a whatever hardship. Change, do something with it, or find it. And most people don't change unless the pain is higher than the comfort zone. If you're comfortable here, you're not going to change.
Which, by the way, many are trapped in the comfort of the pain they know.
Nothing good ever came from comfort zones. Nothing. So the whole point with that is, I lost my thought. So that was really good. Cool.
Thanks, guys. Tune in. We'll try and do one every day if we remember. But we also do our best and we also just have fun along the way. So that makes it all perfect. Cool. It's all perfect. Love you guys. Bye.